Hey, Bojangles not bad, Leash.
I
You
never
started
had
running into
Bojangles.
you run into Rite Aid and Pantry Pride.
Mhm.
Like a Pantry Pride still out there, mentor?
Mhm.
One is still out there. I saw you.
What? That's a mom and pop store.
Yeah.
So we live.
Well, it's if I could just say it's so good to be back with the original squad again. Some of y'all messed around and had a week off. But you know, it's a given. But it's so good to see the four of you guys. We had for a couple weeks, we had some guests with us. We had some reinforcement representing the woman's point of view. And last week we had our very first expert, psychotherapist and relationship trauma expert, Janie Lacey. So before we jump into unpacking some of the things we learned from last session, I'm gonna just go around and see how you guys are doing and see what's new. It's been a while since the audience got to see all four of you together. So I'll start with Joe. Joe, how's everything going?
Man, how you doing, Leash? Man, everything is good. I can't complain. I look forward to these Sundays, and I'm happy that the fellas are back. Man, I missed you,
Oh,
Ben.
oh, the love. That's
Good,
so
Joe.
sweet.
Good.
Yeah.
Mentor.
Greetings, Earthlings. I say Earthlings because sometimes I'll be feeling like I'm not from here. But anyway, I agree with Joe, man. I love the fact that we are all formed together again, like Voltron, and we're at full strength. You know, it's good to see you know, the originators, and shout out to the fans, everybody who religiously follow us, and it's good to see you too, Alicia.
Awesome. Thank you. Marky Mark. How's Callie treating you?
Callie's treating me just well, feeling blessed, fam. Good to see you guys. Good to see you guys in good spirits. You know, always good to know that, especially in the era that we're in, that you know, as a mentor made a reference to the Ultron, I guess Alicia would be the head. I'm not sure. We'll talk about that later. But but yeah, man, feeling blessed. Always blessed. To wake up and see Joshua still blessing me with another day, and looking forward to these Sundays. Now I think Cassandra has accepted that Sundays between 4:30 and about 6, I'm gonna be occupied, and she give me my space. So
Oh,
yeah, so we good.
listen,
Even
tell
even the dog
wifey,
gets somewhere get quiet.
tell wifey we appreciate her, you know, sharing you with us. Plus, this is probably the best time she's getting in her online shopping anyway, not to throw her under. But I
Oh,
just,
Amazon will be knocking at the door in a minute.
yeah. Okay. Chris, welcome back. How's everything
Yeah.
going with you?
Good to see you. Like everybody else, I feel blessed and look forward to this. Everything is running smooth, no entanglements.
Yes,
And
sir.
you beat me to it because I was gonna say, I wonder if we could get through tonight's session without the word entanglement. So
There's 2 times already, so no.
is it twice?
It's gonna
Okay,
be
Twice
tough.
already.
It's gonna
let's
be
see
tough.
who's catching. We're gonna see who's catching, keeping tabs on it. $1 for every time we say it. Awesome. Well, guys, as always, I appreciate you all coming together. And again, your transparency. You know, we looking forward to it. We looking forward to the candidness. To the folks tuning in, welcome, welcome, welcome. Let's see, we have Aisha, we have Yoski, Yardi, Luz, Kimberly, Andy. We have
Yeah,
a
them
couple
diehards. Them
tuned in.
diehards
Yeah,
in the building.
they
In the
very
building.
much a part of this panel with us, right? So thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate it. If I missed anyone, I'm sorry. You know, I'm not that great at multitasking. But you know, just know we love you and we thank you. So fellas, yeah, we won't even touch on the Jada Will Smith thing. I know usually we recap the week's worth of news, but I think it is so important for us to spend as much time as possible just recapping last week with Janie. So Chris, just to bring you up to speed, we had a guest speaker on. Did you get to review the session from last week?
Yeah, I did.
Perfect. All right. So it's as if you were on the panel. All right. So we were taken back, to say the least, on just how much information and knowledge he had and was given to us. A lot of it was things we've heard before, but I really think it was in her delivery that made it plain for us. What do you think, Mark?
Yeah, and that's what I was thinking, Alicia, that things she said you've heard before in some context or form or another, but she put so much. It was like, like somebody gave you a bologna and she turned that into a hellified salad sub and a drink on the side. So she took the little things that I had heard and just really gave a story to it and the reason for it and where it comes from, just gave a lot of substance to it. So yeah, so she definitely shed way more light than I could have ever thought on some of those matters.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm gonna elaborate on that question for everyone. So based off that session last week with Janie, what is something that you were intentional about this week based off what you've learned last Sunday? So Mentor, I'll start that with you.
Yeah, she was definitely like a firecracker that started lit my whole week up. I'll start with 20 affirmations. That's right there. Looking in the mirror and telling myself that I love you and things of that nature, just stuff that I wasn't doing. And that's the knowledge part. And then she spoke with a lot of wisdom, emotional maturity, emotional intelligence. Those are the two things that stick out to me the most.
Yeah.
You feel an immediate trust with her. That's something that you don't automatically feel with people when you speak to them for the first time anyway. But the immediate trust, because you're like all of the men kept saying, we're just sitting there nodding our heads, and you're in agreement with everything that's flowing out like water. Mind you, that it makes you want to hire her, whether you're single, in a relationship, married, searching. You realize you're talking to somebody that can cover wherever stage that you're at in life.
That's good. Joe.
Man, it reminded me, man. First of all, she was amazing. She was amazing. She dropped a lot of knowledge, and I think that was consensus on the whole panel. Just sitting back and listening to just what she was saying, and it just shows, man. What it goes back to what started this thing is, man. There's nothing more dangerous than a smart, powerful black woman.
I mean,
Listen, like just seeing her confidence and knowing what she's been through to be able to tell her story and willing to make people understand that life is the most precious thing. That just shows you how powerful a black woman can be, and then you understand, like, it was like perfect timing because you understand why they hate us.
yeah.
Understand why they envy what we do, and she proved it on that episode. So it reminded me of.
That's a great thing you pulled out, because something that I told her off camera, I said, Janie, it's a powerful thing to see somebody operating in their passion, because she flowed. I mean, and you could tell that we didn't have the time to really dive into all that she would have wanted to share. But I had to just thank her because her passion was contagious. Like, it makes you want to do the way you go about things. It makes you want to go harder, and it makes you want to just sharpen your skills a little bit more, because you never know whose life you could be touching. And she was operating out of pure passion. And I loved that.
Yeah.
Chris, what do you think?
I thought it was powerful. I thought it was the gist of everything she was saying. It was three-dimensional. I read this book that's called Psycho-Cybernetics. I forgot who wrote it, but the main thing is building self-image. So from within. So instead of relying on external sources or elements to impact how you feel about yourself, you have to start from within. So it's like an in-out thing. But what stood out most of all, what I learned was that when she said 69% of our thoughts are negative. So we have to try and overcome that daily. And that's something that I've been practicing since, you know, I mean, since I got wind of that from her. So it was very powerful to me.
Yeah.
It's some familiar stuff that I've read. So for me, it just kind of corroborate whatever I read up before. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Mark, anything you want to add?
Same with what the guy said, and also it encouraged me to have open dialogue with the spouse. Start actually asking tough questions. Well, not tough questions, but just questions that delve into our own personalities, our own traits.
Yeah.
Just get to know her even deeper. Because, you know, again, you think you know someone, but you can always do better. So I think that spurred me to do that.
Nice. Okay. What would you say to friends that they don't believe in counseling or they don't believe in therapy based off how you experienced a Janie? Like, what would you say to your fellow guy friends or family members who were like, no to counseling and therapy? I'll start with you, mentor.
Well, I would say it's difficult because, especially with men, we like to kind of go off of our own, how we were raised and what we were taught. So we have a closed-minded perspective on things for the most part. But just to be open-minded and get something from a person who, the difference with her, right? You see some counselors where they're just all book smart and they can intellectually tell you how to fix a real problem in your house.
Yeah.
Whereas you see some of the things that she's overcome, she actually has a huge testimony. So you know you're getting experience on top of all of this, you know, things that make sense. So that type of counseling, you know, to be open-minded and receptive to it is a lot more easier coming from somebody that can combine what experience and knowledge. Double-edged
Listen,
sword.
I always, it's like I am attracted to people who have been through something and knows what that heat and that pressure and that struggle looks like and could come out on the other side. I'll listen to them 10 times over than someone who has like an Ivy League profession in something. That's just my opinion, because once you walk those trenches and you felt those feelings and that mental battle and you've been able to overcome that, we could talk. I will listen and glean from you and take it all in. Mark?
I would have to find out why do they have that feeling towards counseling or therapeutic help. Just ask them what, because sometimes people are afraid of things, they have no idea why. So I would ask them why. What have they heard? You know, what's your knowledge on it? Just find out where their understanding of what a psychiatrist or counseling, because again, I think most people think that it's when something is wrong, that's when you need to go seek counseling. And I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions people have. So I would definitely find out where their thoughts are on it and then encourage them to do so and give them my experience with it.
Joe?
Well, I'm one of those people that really that's not really fully believing in counseling and those things, you know. But I'm open-minded to it, you know. So I would tell someone who don't believe in it to give it a chance. Just go, you know. You never know. You have to be the judge of that. Last week was wonderful, but there's some out there that, you know, they're basically just reading off the paper that you signed when you came in. You know, so like Alicia say, some of them, you know, are the smartest, but you go to them and they give you the advice that it's like, come on, man. But like what she was telling you last week is make you want to say, just go, give it a try. If it's highly recommended, if there's somebody, go give it a try.
Mm. All right. So, how often should a couple visit a marriage or relationship therapist? I'll start with Mark. I'm gonna start with you because you're the only married one on the
Am I
panel.
really? Oh.
Yes.
How often? Ooh, I would say once every 2 years, no more than three. Once every 2 years, because again, and I'm gonna go back to the previous question. I'm gonna lead right into this. Something Joe was saying. Uh, you know what? So me and my first marriage, we went to a counselor, and sometimes what a counselor is just somebody who's there to allow the arena of two people talking without disturbance. Because normally when you get into a conversation with your spouse, I'm only listening to throw back a reply. I'm not listening to understand. I'm not being open-minded. So no matter how good of a counselor is, you have to have two people who are willing to open up, to be understanding, and to listen for understanding, not listen to reply. So what you just asked me, Lisa, about what was the question?
How often?
How often? Yep. So I would say now, I wish I had done it, but every 2 to 3 years, I would want to go just to, again, to be able to open up until, yeah, just like your car and anything else, go every 2 to 3 years is what I would encourage people to do.
Okay. Mentor, how often do you think a couple or an individual should check out a counselor?
Relationships that had to already overcome a lot of issues, I would say every 6 months. Relationships that pretty much are in good shape, I would say every year.
Mm.
And here's why. Nobody remains the same.
Right. Yeah.
People evolve, people grow, and people will change on you. This is, where the song comes from, seasons change and people change. And that's what happens in a lot of marriages that are together for 5, 10, 15, 20 years. If they have no counseling, nobody to, kind of pull out and show each other some of the things that changed about the person. Because sometimes we don't know. So you have to rediscover and relearn who you fell in love with. Because, you could wake up one morning and it's just a totally different person.
Mm.
That's why you have all of this conflict. That's why some things are just not working, because your mind is programmed on who the person used to be. And counseling every year would update everything that's going on in your relationship.
That's
So I
a
would
good. All right, good point. Chris, Jomo, how often you think?
Well, let me remind you, try to remember, Alicia, that I'm here this week. So I'll go with the first question, which was how how would I approach my friends who don't believe in counseling? But I believe
Yes.
that because I've done this before, I believe that you have to accept the responsibility of first, you have to break the ice. Because I agree with all the guys on the panel that all the fellas on the panel that guys are not that way and we have man code and we have testosterone and all this thing going. But if you're the first person to open up, you just open up and you just to start talk real. All of a sudden you're gonna see one come in and then other come in. And then you start to let them realize that this is counseling, this is therapy. You see what I'm saying? So you need counseling, you need therapy, you need to go to somebody who is a professional, because they're just helping you evaluate your own experience. You see what I'm saying? So you don't look at it like I'm sick, but you what you try to do is you try to evaluate your own experiences in life. And for somebody who is a professional, they can help you with that. So it's almost like a coach. So you look at it more like a coach is not that you need it, whatever the case may be, but you do need it. But as far as couples, I think it depends on the conflict ratio, whatever is going on, But I do believe that it's a good thing for couples to see a therapist because you need to establish a safe environment. And you need almost like a proverbial referee, like a mediator, So, to keep everything organized and in line and, somebody who is independent and not biased. I don't know you, it's not your friend and it's not your friend, right?
Yeah, a referee. That's a nice word to use. A referee.
Yeah.
Joe?
Yeah, I definitely agree with the fellas. As you get older, you realize that sometimes you need that other voice. Like they say, a referee, someone that don't really know you, that don't really judge you, that can give you some insight. I know you guys heard me say that I wasn't big on it, but that was in a past time. As you evolve, you have to understand that there's nothing wrong with help. There's nothing wrong with it, and that goes to telling people as well, like don't be ashamed of it, man. There's nothing wrong with it. Go get the help.
Yeah.
So as you evolve, you realize how important it is.
All right.
Definitely a negative stigma attached to it.
Oh,
yeah.
For sure. And again, I got to thank you guys for being open to it. Because giving you guys a heads up, like, by the way, I'm gonna have a therapist on, it's kind of like, hold up now. But you guys rolled with it. You were great. You asked some really great questions, and we just appreciate the insight from the Black male's perspective on that. Let's turn the notch up just a little bit. I got some questions that I'm curious to know, and I know the folks tuning in want to know as well. As we ask these questions, though, we don't want to just get the juice from you all. We want to make sure that folks tuning in are also thinking about these questions for themselves, because these are going to be some provoking questions, and I thank you guys ahead of time for your vulnerability and your honesty. So, in your last relationship, now this is without blaming the other person, so you can't throw no blame. So in your last relationship, what do you wish you did differently? I'm going to start with Chris first.
Definitely, what I've done differently is get some emotional intelligence. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm much better because I have some, but I had none, zero. So that's what I would do.
What do you define as emotional intelligence, Chris?
Emotional intelligence is just understanding emotions, understanding, respecting, just relating to it, right? So I wasn't relating to anything, right? I'm like, what you cry for? just very basic, just basic emotions. That's what I mean, rather than getting into it and getting on a granular level.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I'm not that deep, and you know what I mean. I'm not like I'm boys to men, but I'll do it a little bit different. Yeah.
Thank you, Chris. Joe?
To be all the way honest, I don't think I would change anything about me from my last relationship. I believe I am who I am, and if I was to change anything, I'll be someone who I'm not. And that over time gets uncomfortable. I agree with Chris about the emotional intelligence. You want to have that because I don't know if it's a Jamaican thing, but it's like, it's like what you crying for. Like crying, that, but I honestly can't sit here and say I'll change anything. I'll tell you I've learned a lot of things, and that's what's supposed to happen. You're supposed to learn because you're growing. But I won't change anything about me.
Okay. Mentor, what's your take on it?
I agree with the part about your experiences mold and shape who you are today. and not wanting to change anything. I see the importance in that. I really do. What I would still change if I could, though, speaking from a divorce perspective, would be staying past the expiration date. Right now, it's like a milk carton, right? A relationship, a stamp, expiration date on it when it's not supposed to. When you're supposed to like say, that's it.
Oh.
Ignoring the millionth red flag.
Yeah.
Speaking from that perspective, you know what I mean? If you ignore the millionth red flag and you stay past the expiration date, meaning it was over with for them. It was over with on your side of the family. Your whole side of the family was like, oh yeah, that's it, it's over with.
And you dragging it out.
Maybe it wasn't over with for me, So I've actually came across a situation like that in more than one relationship. So that would probably be something that I would change. Recognizing the expiration date once it comes, if it comes, because it's not supposed to come.
It's not. That's a tough one, and that's a tough internal one to figure out too, because it's like, do you fight harder or more, or is it that time for us to just go our separate ways? So I think that's one of the most difficult decisions to make in a relationship, is harder or apart. Mark, what are your thoughts?
I have to go along with what Joe said. The person who we are today is because of all those experiences that we've gone through. And if I was to go back and change anything, who knows what you would have in front of you now. So I'm happy with the person that I am today. One thing our founder has told us, Dr. Henry Clifford Kinley, said that if you recognize that everything that you went through, God has put you through it, then you saying you want to go back and change it would say that you're not happy with the way that what he did. Because I think I could have done better. So there's nothing I will go back. My experiences, ups and downs, is what has shaped me.
Shaped you.
Yeah, and I'm happy standing here today. I'm happy with the person that sits here today. So I wouldn't change anything.
I admire you folks that wouldn't change anything, because Alicia Monique will have some things that I would change. I admire you guys for being where you are right now. But if I could be honest, and I'm thinking of a relationship right now where I wish I didn't allow his actions to change my character. That is something that, I do wish I could change, because you're supposed to, as Jomo said, you're supposed to remain who you are at all times. But when you're thrown into situations that's never happened to you, sometimes you don't even recognize yourself. And I won't get too deep into that, but I mean, thank God I have great friends and a loving family to kind of remind me who I was, because in the moment these earrings was coming out, y'all know I'm not a fighter, but I'll be one. Don't test me now. But it's through those actions that would have you become someone that you're not. So luckily, I'll be able to teach KK to remain who she is. But yeah, interesting point. Let's jump to the next one. What are so last week we talked about addictive processes, and those are anything from sex, alcohol, gambling, drugs. What are some addictive processes we may not be aware of or we're overlooking in relationships? So I'll start with Mark. What are some addictive processes we may not be aware of or we overlook?
Good one. At least I don't remember seeing that one. Constant.
No, right.
Practice on that one. Did you just pull that one out there?
No, that was fair.
Alicia, is this regarding the relationship or just?
Yeah, or it could be with self. It could be with self or in a relationship. So
what I find people can overlook is the working out thing, right? So, like, for instance, I might see a girl and she said, okay, I'm going to try and tone up. Next thing I know, she look like a man. And she don't even realize it. You get what I'm saying? Because
no, no, I don't get what you're saying. What?
Yeah, don't stop there. The next thing you know, she look like a man.
You don't know what I mean? First, they start out, all right, and they're like somewhat soft, right? And I say, okay, I just want a tone, right? But after a while, it gets so addictive, they start to look tough now instead, right? Real muscular. I mean, I talk about the arms and everything. And then you're like, whoa, 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 slow down, but they can't stop, right? So they're turning into something more than they initially wanted. The goal changed. But I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. And it's like with dieting. Dieting.
Well, I understand. I understand what you're saying because I've had a friend who witnessed the opposite, where the person he was talking to was in shape. So getting into the relationship, you would think that they took their physical, they took consideration of it. And few years down the line, they have completely let themselves go. So, you know, I know kids are now in the picture and lives get a lot busier, but, you know, what was initially a physical attraction has transitioned to maybe a different place now. So that's the opposite kind of what Chris is talking about, but it's kind of like that same physical, I guess. All right, let me go to somebody else. Chris threw me off.
Yeah, I have nothing on that. Thanks, Chris.
Mark, are you gonna Jomo, come save us? What is the big process that we might
welcome back, Chris. Welcome.
That was a Steph Curry 3-pointer you threw on us there, Ali. Way from the free throw, way from the half court line. Ain't nothing you can do with that.
Hey, Andy said, Chris, stop hating on the CrossFitters.
Man, but on the serious thing, man, gambling. Gambling is a drug, man, and it's crazy. I'm gonna share this on the forum, you know, because y'all my people's out there now. I had a gambling habit a couple years ago. I called it a habit because I remember just when I sat down and calculated and realized how much money I lost gambling. And I'm gonna tell you guys the exact amount. It was $14,816.
American dollars, Jamal?
American dollars gambling. Because but you lose more. It gets addictive. It takes over you because you always feel you're gonna win. I remember one I went to the bank and I withdrew $5,500 and I stood there. And I remember just standing there and thinking about it like man, and you don't realize it's like a silent killer because it's over you because you're always like, man, I'm gonna get this one. This is gonna be it. This is gonna, and what you have to pull yourself away. And I'm not ashamed to tell. Like I tell my friends now, you know, when they're gambling, I always tell them, you know, be careful, you know, because I know what it could do to you. I've seen it put people underneath the bridge. I've seen it to where people die over it. So people gamble away their houses. I mean, I see people that are so addictive, and my biggest thing was to stop it. So I'm proud of myself that I was able to stop it and share the story. But it's one thing that I tell people, like, that is one of the silent killers. Love first. Love is a silent killer, and gambling second. Gambling could take over everything. You won't even realize it.
Wow.
You're not watching sports for the fun of it. You're watching it because of your gambling. So where the thrill of it is like, oh man, it's coming down to the second. It's, man, please cover the spread or don't hit the spread.
Yeah.
And that takes away the joy of the game, and it's a killer, man. It's a killer.
Dang, Joe, that is so honest. Because I know that couldn't be easy for you because when you're in it, you don't realize.
And no one would ever know. No one ever knew.
Wow.
It was something I fought myself. No one, not even my mom. No one ever knew.
Suffer in silence.
Yeah, and I just said I have to get out of this myself.
Mm-hmm.
This is the mental strength. It's like, yo, this I have to overcome this because this is what it's doing. And when you realize, like, yo, you gotta you change your whole lifestyle change.
Well, did you
Everything
hit like
changed.
a rock bottom for you to say, "Oh, we got to change this now"?
Oh
Like
yeah,
this,
oh yeah.
yeah.
My bank account started showing it,
Mm.
and that's what it was. It was like stuff I worked so hard for to establish, stuff I worked so hard to maintain. I gave it away.
Mm.
And that's when you have to open your eyes, and and that's why I tell people, like, I'm blessed, man, because there's been a lot of stuff I've overcome, and that was one of them that I'm proud of because, man, I've seen what it done to people, and having some stories with some people. At least you know some of the people where you hear the stories. You know, a couple of people we work with, you hear how much you like what? Like you're going into your bonds, you're going into your stock, your 401k, and it's like,
Wow.
oh, yeah, I'm proud of myself for that.
Good job, Joe. Oh.
Hey, you know what, Joe? You know what my father used to tell me coming up? He used to say to me, be careful of what you try because you just might really like it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And he kept telling me that over the years, me and my brother. So I was like, I took it, you know. So I'm saying prevention better than cure.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, for sure. Mark?
So I know I told you I had nothing on it. I still don't have nothing on it, so you can go to the next question.
No, no problem. We have to jump to mentor.
Oh, yeah, and this what and I'll just add is because I guess I've never experienced that. The only thing that came to my mind was something that you bring into the relationship doing, and the other person think that they'll stop, and it's something that you continue doing after the marriage, after the wedding ceremony, and then they're perplexed as to why are you still doing this when this is what you've done, this is what you've always done. For example, watching football on Sundays. Sunday, leave me alone from 11 a.m. till 10 o'clock at night. Sunday, that's NFL day, right? So, of course, after the marriage and you continue doing that, now it becomes an issue. So that's the closest thing I could come to. And it goes back to what Janie was saying about knowing who you're partnering up with before you partner with it. Don't close an eye to it or think you're going to change it.
Yeah.
So that's the closest thing I could come to that, but I've never experienced anything.
Sound like somebody addicted to you, Mark.
I've had a couple. Yeah, but
mentor, go ahead.
Wow. I just also would like to congratulate Joe's transparency. That was very brave of him. And this is what I meant and always reference about us going fishing. Because, we talk and we unpack. That's what we do on this show. We unpack like crazy, right? But we still don't really know each other like that, right? And that's why, I can't wait to meet everybody, go fishing and things of that nature, because I'm sure that we could unpack even further. But I would say codependency. Codependency is something that, I was going through it one time in a relationship, and I was talking to Will the Real One. He's the poet that got murdered or whatnot. And he was like, man, every time I see you, you're in a relationship. So you ain't know how to
feedback
and just chill. He said, I know what that is. That's called codependency. I said, what? I had to really think about that, like that's an actual addiction. Like you could just be with somebody just for the sake of being with them, right? Because you're so used to being in a relationship. So the codependency aspect of it is taking away how to be a leader, have a mind of your own, do things and function to where, if you notice, some of the best relationships or marriages because each individual are its own entity. And they can both bring something to the table, whether that be financially, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, you know, and you can't really get that if you're like, if you came up codependent all your life, because you don't really know yourself like that. So once you know how to function, you know, as an individual, then you'll be able to, you know, better yourself in a relationship, because I had to learn the hard way that codependency is an addiction.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's a good one. All right. So, in regards to someone confiding in you and not sharing with others to violate trust, but they are on a downward spiral with an addictive process, let's say either sex, alcohol, gambling, drugs, etc., how can an intervention on this person's behalf occur? Mark?
You're doing the Milli Vanilli, Mark. Doing the Milli Vanilli.
Is he mute? What's going on with Mark?
Yeah, I muted.
Okay.
Yeah, I was saying, well, you know, you don't want to put no surprise attack. I think just being open and honest, you know, letting the person know that, you know, they need help. And I don't know, you know, just seeing where their mindset is. But yeah, being open and honest with someone, you know, I always say, you know, one thing, you know, I love Chris and his dad quotes. I said, man, he needs, his dad probably write a book. Because, you know, when someone pull out a quote, my dad will always say, my mom actually would tell us that, you know, people you hang around, hey, you guys have heard this, you know, show me the friends you hang around, and I'll tell you something about yourself. If you have friends that's always yes and up to you, if you don't have that friend that will get in your face and like, bruh, you know, this is wrong. You know, someone who's kind of your yin to your yang, you know, your uh, opposing point of views. You need somebody in your corner that don't see eye to eye with you. You need somebody who's going to challenge you. So you know, I would say I know I hang around friends such as you guys, and I have some real serious friends that we can't get into each other's face, knowing that hey, there's something you need to go, there's something that's wrong. You need to go seek help about this. So I don't believe in doing any sneaking around the back, but just upfront and being honest with trying to seek any type of help.
Agreed. Okay, Joe?
Yeah, that's definitely when honesty comes into place, man. That's when you have that conversation, and you got to let them know your stories. You know, the thing is when people get on that downward spiral, they feel like it's only happening to them, or it's only happened to them. And you got to let them know, like, come on, man, it happens to a lot of people, but only the strong survive. And I say it a lot. You know, I said, you know, only the strong survive, man. Look at what we're in right now, and you know, it's like you have to be mentally tough right now, or you're gonna cave in. So it's always just having that open conversation and just being there, just listening to them, and just asking them questions and then following up. You know, don't just have that conversation one day and leave it alone. Follow up. Hey, how you doing? You know, because then they're gonna realize, okay, at least they're paying attention. Let me listen, because sometimes some people just want to talk.
Yeah.
You know, they just want to talk, and you show them that you're there to listen, and you show them that you're there for that support, and it's free. You know, it doesn't take no time; it's free, and that's what happens to a lot of people. We take stuff for a joke when people are screaming for help, and we'll take it for a joke. We'll be like, you tripping, man. You be good, man. Huh? Here go another drink, man. Drink that drink, man. Or smoke that blunt, and when really it's just like, yo, like what you mean, man?
Okay.
And that's what you got to do.
Okay. Chris? And then mentor.
Um, the thing is, to me, it's kind of hard to because I'm saying somebody needs help. You know, they confide in you. It could be something like personal, like maybe, for example, a porn addiction or something that they don't want anybody else to know. But you see, they're going on a downward spiral. You get what I'm I mean, it's kind of hard to get other people involved, but what I would do is I would have to take a divine approach, which is maybe invite it to church or something like that. And let's go and pray about it, because to me, it's tough to kind of share that with somebody else because they're going to feel betrayed.
Right. Yeah.
Right? Because you're the only person that trusts to confide in. So, I mean, that's the only thing I can think of. You know, maybe Janine can come back on here and tell us
what to do.
but
She'll like have them call me.
right. But
No,
that's all I have.
that's a good one. Mentor?
It depends on what level of addiction the individual is at and how much trauma and pain they've gone through. You know, all of that matters because let's say a person is struggling with something, anything, whatever it is. Now, normally the people who they grew up with all their ones who are in their life now pretty much kind of know that this individual does this, right? So sometimes the friends and family and the people sometimes those are the last people that you want to talk to because it's like one of those, oh, I did it again. I told y'all I wasn't gonna, and I ended up. So a lot of times it takes that perfect stranger who can just relate and been there, right? And this stranger who don't know you from a can of paint just probably overheard you talking about this problem. And they spent 20 years on the problem. So now this is the person to open up to because they don't have any past disappointments of you. You know what I mean? They're not expecting you to continue down this downward spiral. So a perfect stranger can be the one that you open up to and release it, because that's unpacking and releasing is what it's all about. The longer you hold all that stuff in, listen, I thank God that I'm a poet and I'm able to write poetry. But even some poems can't fully heal me.
Right.
Just have to work on the actual healing. And sometimes that may not take somebody that you trust. It may take a perfect stranger.
That's an awesome point, but how would you, because you wouldn't, that's like a therapist, right? But how would you get that person?
That referee, man. That referee, though.
Right, but how would you get the person there? To the stranger.
Open up to the stranger.
Right. How would you get them there? That's the tough part for me.
Good question.
Yeah, that's what got me entangled.
Kimberly brings up a great point. She says, oftentimes the individuals with the issues have to hit their rock bottom for change to happen. Sometimes we hinder people by trying to help or rescue them. What do you guys think about that?
Rod, absolutely correct. Yeah. Absolutely correct. As soon as I heard the word, I 1,000% agree with that.
Can't dispute that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Tell us about a time when in the beginning you saw a red flag that you ignored and you wish you did not.
You want my girl?
Okay.
I have so many.
One. And please don't let it be about the club or somebody being cheap.
I'm going to pick one. All right. So I had a situation where I meet a yam head and I knew it.
It
was a yam head.
What's it, yam?
Like you call it a bird head here. You know. You know, it's just no brain. You know, yam has no brain, you know. Right. So I knew that, but because of the physical attributes and whatsoever,
I like the way you put that.
You guys know I'm big on hygiene and you know, I like the smell and everything like that. So I just went in, you know, and then what happened is later on, I just got so annoying because I need mental stimulation and there's none. So
what was that time frame from the time where you were attracted to now you're annoyed?
Let me tell you, the time frame probably about, that's a probation time, like 90 days. But then, you get like, you on and off because the other factors come into play. You get yeah, so.
Yeah, I'm not going to say that this seems to be a reoccurring issue, but what I will say is that it seems to be common with guys to fall for the baddest chick, who a lot of times will end up being like crazy, or a young head.
But you know what they say? They say guys are visual and girls are audio.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Mark?
Red flag. Which one do I want to pull out?
Right.
Yeah, I'm going through the Rolodex on this one. And I guess we'll just keep it in the same context of the conversation, a relationship, where it was pretty much similar to what Chris just described. On a scale of 1 to 10, physically and as far as pleasing a person, she was off the chart. But there was a lot of instances before that happened that I knew this person could not carry a conversation beyond the 4th grade level.
Oh.
And literally it was like real simple conversation. And after a while, that gets, after a while, very quickly, that becomes old. Of course, after everything has taken place, it becomes old even quicker. So, and it just turned out to be just a total waste of about 8 months. So, but it was, there was nothing that anybody could have told me. Nothing anybody could have showed me that this was not going to end this way. I saw the train coming. I was standing on the track. The train had the headlights coming towards me, and I faced it.
Oh.
So yeah. So.
And wave.
Yeah. No, I didn't wave. Come on. So yeah. So yeah. So it's just one instance I'll leave.
All right, Joe.
Man, I was thinking of the question as you was talking, and my senior year in high school, my 11th grade year going into my senior year, man, it was a girl that I was dating, and I just knew from the get-go that I was like, nah, Joe, like, but I ignored the red flags. So I found myself getting into fights, doing all this stuff, and it's like one of the dumbest decisions I ever made, because you know how many girls like me in high school, my 11th or 12th grade year, and it's like, why am I with this girl? And now that I think back of it, I'm like, hey man, I wasted years, man.
Okay. Mentor.
Okay, so disclaimer, I was 22 years old, okay? Look, promiscuous girl. I had a coworker come to stop by the house to just to talk, just to see me, right? And I'm in the house, I'm looking out the window. My girl at the time, she was already outside. So I'm just looking at all of this transpiring. I'm like, okay, he pulls up. Any minute now, she's gonna come to the door and say, hey, your coworker is here. I'm looking out the window. They're still talking and vibing. So I'm like, all right, any minute now, she's supposed to come.
Yeah.
That was the first red flag that I ignored. And then, the second one was next door neighbor. He was handsome fella, muscular, young. I'm not, that way. I'm just stating the facts, right?
Okay.
So, he just honestly approached me one day. It was like, hey man, I just want to let you know that I could have got with your girl.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm like, what do you mean you could? Look, I immediately respected, bro. I was expecting him like, whoa, these dudes don't do this no more, right? So he, as a next door neighbor, you know, he wanted to keep the respect with me.
Yeah.
So he's like, hey man, I could have got with your girl, you know. I didn't do anything, didn't touch her, XYZ, but everything that she was kind of like giving off, you know, if I would have, you know, bit the bait, you know, it happened. I just want to let you know I didn't want to cross that line because of you.
Wow.
So then I kind of learned, you know, a painful lesson to like not fall in love with promiscuous women, you know, and you know, overlook. And that's the thing; those red flags that you're supposed to get it one time. After that, you might need to pop in a JT Money CD. Because you only need. I'm gonna leave it at that.
Wow. Okay. Did everyone get to answer red flag? Everyone answered red flag. All right. Tell us about a time when you felt disrespected by someone you were in a relationship with. How did you handle it? I'm gonna go to Jomo first.
You know, I'm a very private person. So I'm not someone that like brags a lot, or someone that be like, oh, I got this, or I got that, or I make this and I make that. But, you know, in our field, at least, you know, we have an opportunity to make real good money. So I've had a girl tell me
I was in that field, for anyone asking. I was in that
you
field.
moved on to bigger and better things.
Go ahead, Joe.
But I've had a girl, like, you know, because I don't really do, you know, like really brag or nothing, you know, I dress and stuff like that. And she put her two lips together and said, oh, I got more money than you. You ain't got no money. And that thing just hit a nerve. It hit a nerve with me because it's like, first of all, you disrespecting me. Second of all, you don't even know me to even think like that. And then third of all, no, I got more money than you. So why are you even disrespecting me like that? So it's just like, and I ain't gonna lie, I had money in my pocket. I know y'all gonna hate me for this, but I remember pulling out money. I tell y'all, no lie, it was like $1,500. And I remember I threw it at her.
I'm not laughing.
Threw it at her. I literally, like, you could hear it smack across her face and go down. I threw it at her.
Okay. That's okay, Joe.
Yeah.
Strippers get that all the time.
Listen. And my next words were,
oh man,
you don't even know me like that. Don't ever disrespect.
Wow. Oh, so this was with a stranger. This wasn't even somebody.
This was just somebody just talking, you know, and they felt like, I guess they felt they was feeling the moment and stuff. They could try to pop style on me, or, you know, try to get a joke out of me. And it's like, and that's one thing I hate. Like, don't try to get a joke out of me. You feel me? I'm in my own lane. I don't mess with you. I don't, you know, I'm not worried about you. I really wish you well, but I'm in my own lane. So if you disrespect me, I know that you violate me because I didn't do nothing for you to disrespect me. So it's like what would make you even think that? You know, think that. So, and, you know, I got a temper. So,
hey, but Joe, it's a lot of people that won't feel disrespected. They'll probably just start picking up that money off the ground, even if you hit them.
Oh no, I picked my money up. Yeah, I picked my money up. I got my money.
Better have.
David.
You ain't tipping the disrespect now. No, you picked that money up. All right, let me jump to Mark. So Mark, anyone that you were in a relationship with, how did they disrespect you and what did you do? How did you respond?
Okay, muted again. I just want to first say that did anybody notice that Joe was walking around with $1,500 in his pocket? First of all, okay, I just thought maybe I was the only one that caught that. I'm like, I've really been rolling around the wrong kid.
Nah, man, I used to do stupid things, man.
On my
Don't even
stupidest day, I
talk
didn't
about a
have
birthday
15.
party that Jomo threw
Hey,
one time. I heard that through the grapevine.
okay. On my
I was
dumbest days,
young.
Joe, I never had 1,500 in my pocket. But anyway, um, no, bro. Yeah, I would say, yeah. So there was a relationship, and I've always have told guys, listen, if you find your girl messing around, don't go approach the guy. You need to go talk to her.
Mm,
So this is what I taught, but my actions spoke otherwise.
mm.
So yeah, I was me and this young lady was talking. I just happened to be putting gas in my car. She said she was sick. That night we was gonna step out. I'm at the gas station putting gas in my car, and who pulls up at 2 pumps away from me, and he gets out to put gas in his car, and I'm looking at the passenger seat, and there she is.
Ooh.
So he immediately pulls off. I pull off behind him, follow him to his place, and just walk past her, and I'm approaching him. And that, I don't know, to me that's stupid, and I don't care what country you're in. That's the stupidest thing you could do, approaching to me, approaching a guy about your girl stepping out.
Mm.
So approached him, had some words that didn't get into confrontation. Um, and yeah, so that was one of the stupidest things I ever did too. Yeah, following, approaching someone like that and not knowing if they was caring or what. But in the heat of the moment, people always say what they would do, but in the heat of the moment, you have no idea what you would, do. So yeah, that ended that volatile relationship right then and there.
Mm. Mentor?
Well, it drew the line in the sand for me. The ugly things that folks don't want to talk about, which is one situation got domestic. She called the popo after, me trying to leave. I was just trying to leave the house. Right? She blocking the door, stopping me from leaving. Right? I didn't put my hands on her, but in her trying to grab me, a scratch went from the top of my head all the way across my cheek right there. So when the police showed up, the police looks at her and looks at me and then go, all right, I know that she called the police, but do you want to press charges, sir? I said, no, I'm just trying to leave. She stopped me from leaving. And they were like, all right, yeah, let him leave. And I knew then that, look, anything remotely close to domestic, I don't want to be a part of at all. It's too much to explain. It's also long-term damaging, So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's my moment of honesty.
Oh. Dang. Chris?
Um, all right, I was out one time with, and this girl just decided to fart, like a big one too. That's disrespect. And then on top of it, it smelled bad. So I just, and what did I
Especially, you
do?
know what? I don't know. I think
No,
it's
but I'm
testing
just
that
telling
you
you what
are
happened
on
to
the
me.
jig.
That was very disrespectful to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was embarrassing, humiliating. You
Hey, what was
understand? And most of the people. All right, let me paint the picture for you. Most of the people in this public settings was my friends.
Oh man.
Was what?
It's my friends. It's actually a friend of mine
Okay.
having a function.
So Chris
And
was
I
loud enough
invited
that the
her
people
there.
around you heard it?
Yes. You know where she decided to do it?
On your lap.
No.
Oh.
Thank God.
Jomo is.
But it's just going, when you're going around the table getting the dinner.
Buffet?
Tell me what I must do now. Tell me that's not.
Well, how was she cute though, Chris? Was she cute? Was she fine?
Cute, well, it don't matter.
At that time, it don't matter.
No. But yeah, that's my moment. And I didn't know what to do. Because I couldn't leave.
That's classic. That's classic.
God. You got issues.
We're gonna have to reenact that moment one day.
That's classic. That's classic. That is classic.
Don't traumatize me, please.
Man, that's classic.
But what gets me is like how serious he started out. Like this was gonna be like,
Yeah.
All right. It sounds funny. All right, listen. It sounds funny, but all right, it sounds funny now that I'm saying it, but just put yourself in that position.
It's bad. It is bad.
It is.
Put yourself in that position. It
Did
was
she
really
apologize,
serious.
Chris, or did she just let it loose and kept walking? Did she make it?
I don't know. No, she just was right. They were sharing out the food and she just bust a bomb, you know?
And Chris, your facial expressions are dramatic. So I know you just look at her in utter disgust.
I couldn't
like
believe it.
you're walking home.
Did she?
What
What she
was
said?
the drive home like?
It was gonna be loud.
What's the drive home like? Was it like a library?
And at least you know all women, if they're in a public setting like that, y'all vets when it comes to stuff like that. You're gonna either remove yourself
Absolutely.
or you're gonna let those slow, silent.
Mhm.
You see how you agree?
Listen, I wish it was a silent but deadly.
Right.
Loud and deadly.
Want them out or just leave the room?
Oh my
You feel
God.
way too comfortable.
Once in a while, it
No,
might sneak
that's
up on you
past
where you think
comfortable.
it's gonna be silent, and then it's like,
No.
oh,
I
that's
think
what I'm saying. Did she
what
think that?
happened, but still, you know, take away yourself.
yeah.
Yeah.
Take away yourself just in case.
In that setting,
Was
you
it
can't
long?
take a chance.
It's like long and
this is
drawn
the
out?
problem. It was loud. It was loud enough to know where it was coming from.
Oh
Right,
wow.
What kind of question is that? Was it long?
Well, you know, sometimes it's loud and long. Like, never mind.
Research. That's a research question.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
We looking for disrespect in a relationship.
That's
You know what, Chris?
classic.
That is disrespect. That's disrespect.
That's classic.
Oh my gosh.
That's classic. That's an all-time classic.
All right, fellas, we're almost done here. So, what are your thoughts on dating someone? And I'm gonna ask this. I'm gonna throw this to the chat as well. Guys and girls, what are your thoughts on dating someone of a different nationality and color? And would you date like outside of your race?
I say never, but not me. I've just seen my cousins and stuff go through, like cousins, uncles go through so much. And my mom would always tell me, hey, you see what your cousin's going through. And I understand what she was saying. And it's like, never say never, but not, if you want to, hey, I salute you. But me, nah, man, I'm gonna continue riding with my sisters until the wheels fall off.
Oh, Joe, I'm sure the whole chat is just a round of applause. That was cute. Let's see what the rest
But if you fart in public,
it's a wrap.
It's a wrap.
Bye, Felicia.
I won't necessarily ask you that question. I'll rephrase it for you. Have you ever dated outside of your race? Because you're married, so I don't want to.
Oh,
Yeah.
no. Yeah, I have. And, the funny thing about that, when people usually ask me that, I would tell them, no, I've never dated plants or animals. You know, they say date outside your race.
The human.
Nationality or color.
Yeah, so,
Sorry, let me.
So, no, but I'm saying that, but that's what people know. I know what they mean, but that's normally how people ask it. But I have dated outside of my race several. I've never dated a Caucasian, but I've dated Latinos, Spanish, and she was actually from Spain. So I've dated outside, and the thing is, though, I always knew that I would always marry a sister.
How'd you know that?
I just always, I think one reason why I always felt it because I saw my mom,
Mm,
and I always knew my wife was gonna be like my mother,
okay.
you know, complexion and all. So, uh, I, to me it just, yeah. So I don't have any preference. I think, if I would have, I would have no problem if I fell in love with someone who was outside of my nationality. I would have no problem marrying them. But I just something about y'all, Cocoa Brown
Mm.
women that you just can't get. Yeah. So I have not. Yeah. So anyway, I
Yeah.
have.
And I know everybody has their own preference. We have some messages in the chat. Andy says 7 billion people on the planet. No one knows where the match will come from. So even though there's 7 billion people, we all still have a preference on what we would want. Um, yeah, interesting. Mentor?
Well, this is probably why sometimes I clash with a lot of pro-black movements, right? Because love is colorblind.
Mm.
That's one thing that I learned over the years of my my 41 years of being on earth. Love is colorblind. I do not knock who one falls in love with. And, even though race is the topic, you got the LGBT community, you have so many different factors that come into, what's surrounding the word love, who a person falls in love with. That, it forces you to kind of look at it from an open perspective. However, me personally, my preference, you all you've seen pictures of my family. I'll see my choice, what it is that I prefer. So the transparency is there for me. I can speak for myself with my own life. But in terms of my perspective on how people should fall in love and with who, I say you be with who you're gonna get along with forever, for the rest of your life, because forever is a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, that doesn't have a color to it.
Got it. And before I go to Chris, like they can date whoever they want to have their own preference, but don't do it at the expense of dissing Black women, please. Because a lot of times there will be a preference of non-Black women, which is fine, but in the same sentence, it's dissing, they'll have some demeaning message around why they don't date Black women. Just have your preference, but don't diss us in the meantime. Does that make sense? I know y'all don't do it on the panel because I wouldn't have asked you to be on the panel if you were like that. But you see what I'm saying? How it can kind of backhand us while they prefer and kind of uplift another race, if you would. And that's hard to watch as a Black woman. It's not that we don't want to, it's not that we don't like when our men date outside of our race. It's when they diss us and date outside of the race. I think that stings a little bit more. Does it make sense? Maybe I'm not saying it right. What do you
You
think?
know what, Alicia? I would say it makes sense. When I hear people say that, you'll hear, especially when it comes to NBA athletes, just athletes, period, is that's probably one of the most ignorant statements that you could make because it only takes 1 hour of looking at Jerry Springer and you have white people on it, like he'll have a show, white women who only date black men, black women who only date white men, just so forth and so on. And you see that every nationality have issues. So it has nothing to do with the color. It's just that, and I think Mentor said it, that I pair myself up with the right person, no matter what color you are.
Yeah.
So when I hear people say, I prefer white women because black women give you too much mouth, but then you end up getting divorced and giving up half your belongings because she gave too much mouth. So it's just one of those ignorant statements. And when I hear people say that, I give no reply to it because that just lets me know just how far down the ladder you are and how unexperienced you are in life.
Chris?
All right. No, I agree with everybody because I have my preference, and you probably know my preference already. But the thing is that I agree with most of the guys on the panel. But to what Mentor said, I do believe that, and God taught me this lesson a long time ago when I was still a teenager, when I just came here. Idiosyncrasy trumps everything else. I mean, I get it why you will talk to somebody because it's more relatable, you're more comfortable, right? All of that stuff. So that's where that would be a go-to. But idiosyncrasy beats racism, Trump, nationalism, all that stuff. And let me share my story time. So when I just came here and I was going to college, I think I was about 18 or 19 years old. And I was working for this gas station. I stopped at this gas station and there's this half Chinese Jamaican man that owned the gas station, right? And he gave me a job there. Long story short, I had this car and the gearbox went. They had this mechanic bay and they had this redneck, because he was a redneck, Bob, because he would get drunk in the evenings. And that's when I learned all the racial slurs. Right? He would sit with his buddy and drink and just yell out racial slur. Anyway, my gearbox went. So I went to the Jamaican guy. His name is David, who owned the gas station. I said, David, this is my gearbox went. So David go, oh yeah? You start writing up the invoice, this, that. Bob, the redneck came in and said, David, what are you doing? Dave, what are you doing? And he goes, I'm writing up my invoice. And he goes, for Chris? And he goes, yeah, what do you want me to do? Then he goes, all right, is it okay if I work on the car for him and so he just pay for the parts? So Bob, the redneck, worked on my car for free. And you know what David told him? It's on you, man. And this is the guy that I have all things in common with. My name is Lynn. His name is Lee, right? We're both half Chinese from Jamaica, right? So I have all these things in common. That's how I even got the job. But at the end of the day, the person who is racist had more love and heart for me. To work on his own time. He asked him if he could use the place in his own time to do it for me for free. So right from there now, I just believe what Mentor said. And like my dad said, the garden would be boring if it was only lilies in there, right? So variety is the spice of life. So that is how I look at it. I get it where Black women say whatever, but you have to look at it from different perspectives. Some Black guys actually don't go to white women because a mental state of brainwashing. Some of them go to them because they're fed up, because they want to feel like a king. And some Black women tend to devalue and make you feel, for example, you're at the bus stop. You want to feel like a king. So
we're not bringing up bus stops. We're not bringing up bus stops. We're not bringing up paid entrance into the club or drinks.
I'm not trying to push your button. I see what you did to Mark.
What did I do to Mark?
What did you do to change it?
Can you
That's scary.
please? Can you let me on the bus?
Come and go.
Only one question.
All right, last question is, what would you want to ask your family's lineage? So let's say you just get the chance to sit side by side with your great grandpa, or just someone in your lineage, like based off what you know your family's behavioral issues or strengths, even like just based off what you know in your family, like what's a question that maybe you haven't got a chance to ask that you would want to know? Maybe things that have been passed down to you that you subconsciously act out on, that you may not know where it came from, or you do know where it comes from. But what's just a question you would want to ask, like your history, you could? I'll go to Joe Mo first.
I probably want to ask is where that hustle mentality came from. Like, how did you develop it? How did it how did it go down to my grandparents, and then to the kids, and then down to me, and even my brothers and stuff like that. And it's just like, because you see it, like, you sit back and you hear the stories and you see it. Like I told you guys on the first episode, like, my dad got me here from prison, to America, from Jamaica to Denver, Colorado, from prison. And as soon as he got out, he came to me, and we came to Florida. But he always, like, he had a hustle. Always was hustling. He always was about the paper. My grandparents were like that. I remember them when I was seeing them. I was young in Jamaica, and I just seeing them just always grinding. If I go to Jamaica now, my uncles and stuff, they're always working,
Yeah.
working. And then if you know me, I'm a work. It's not even when I'm mad and I'm upset, I'm gonna work, because I believe in giving me your all. And it's just asking them, just, man, where did that come from? Like, how did you develop it? Like, what made you go,
Yeah.
in those times?
That's a good question. Mark?
I don't know so much as me wanting to know. I think I just would want to know my lineage. I'm very yeah. I would very curious about where my lineage, where that first boat from Africa landed, and just more about my family history.
Okay. Mentor?
You say great 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 grandfather? Yeah, I would want to know the day-to-day activities. I would ask him, what it is that you do, and then learn, what it is that his brothers did and his sisters, and who are the carpenters, steel people. You know what I mean? I would want to know who, what type of jobs they held, because if that's my bloodline, then I would learn a lot more about their work ethic, what they did to overcome, how they did it, X, Y, Z, because it can directly kind of show me how to live, and learn myself, learning what my strengths are and weaknesses, and learning what type of profession runs in the family. Because
Right.
let's say I didn't know that engineering ran in my family. Let's say I didn't know that. And then once I speak to them and find that out, now I'm an engineer, architect, all of this other stuff. I can transition just by simply learning, what my ancestors did on a day-to-day.
Yeah.
So I would look to find out what their day-to-day lives were like.
Okay. Chris?
Pretty much like Mentor just said. I just pretty much want to know more than just track my traits, just to see where my traits come from, why am I like this, how I can fix it. Just being aware of it, and just being just knowing what they did and knowing them would have been exciting for me, but never met no great grand anything. Yeah.
Yeah, that would definitely be quite the experience. In the last couple of years, I've gotten a lot of chance to connect with my grandfather, who's 102, and just learning all that he's done in Jamaica and everything that he's established and homes he's built and things that he's built and had his hand in. Like, it like straightens up my own back, you know what I mean? To say, oh, because I'm talking to him about different promotions I'm getting at work or different projects I'm in, and he's like, that's great, but you're still doing it for somebody else. And he's like, you come from a family of entrepreneurs, and hearing that, it's almost like spinach to Popeye, like you hear that and it's kind of like, oh, yeah, like I do come from that and I can do that. And it's a different type of empowerment, but I could get on that all day. Fellas, as you know, it's always a pleasure to connect with you guys. Thank you again for your transparency. Before we go, though, I'm pretty sure that Mentor got something for us. So, Mentor, I'm going to pass it to you.
Measure twice, cut once. Invest your money, don't stunt. Love yourself, trust few, and we ain't got to listen to Donald Trump. Everybody stay focused. Dream notorious and pray daily. Don't worry too much because paranoia drives you crazy. Save the babies. Respect your elders. Handle pressure. Developing your talent is finding a hidden treasure. Stay home sometimes and read a book. Look within. Stay home sometimes and cook. Pick up a pen and write a masterpiece. Play for keeps. Take responsibility for each mistake. The same way you want to take the credit, man, go and get it. Keep your leverage. Don't always grab a beverage, drink water. Don't disrespect women, just picture if she's your daughter. Common courtesy is the mother of chivalry. Can you dig it, baby? Change your vocabulary and use the words I will instead of maybe. Prioritize everything and act accordingly. Repeat that action as repetitive as good mornings, B. Think rationally. Perform passionately. If you don't like your surroundings, then change your frequency and mind your business. Start a business or go to school. If life throws monkey wrenches at you, use them as tools and go to work. Before you start, you better know the job first. Proper preparation prevents piss poor performances. Follow up your condolences with a how you doing phone call. Are you suicidal? Then you shouldn't be at home alone at all. Tear down a few walls. Be open to differences. Being solution-oriented is the basis of what this is. Be optimistic. While society appears more apocalyptic, be more specific with your time and don't waste it. If you have an ugly past, then give yourself a spiritual facelift. Faking it until you make it will only last until you fall, and then everyone will realize that you was faking it all along, right? Some of your wrongs. Sing uplifting songs. Become an early bird and set alarms. Wake up to the fact that we're trapped in the matrix and facing forth and long. Let's be honest. Without making promises we know we can't keep. Let's be unique. In a world full of infidelity, don't cheat or commit larceny, hypocrisy, promote obscenity. At least have the decency to not make a mockery out of you or me. Forgive me, I'm fearless. My heart is sincerely in this. Motivation gets you started, but it's all about what you finish. From Genesis, you can't get to Revelations that easy. Have patience in every situation you face, and believe me, no testimony without a test. Expect competition when you're the best. Walk out of the doors already dressed for success. Just make sure that the most important piece of clothing is your attitude. A smile can get you a lot further than being rude. A business suit is a better investment than Jordan tennis shoes. Pay your bills and pay your dues. Don't pay too much attention to fools. Drop out of gangs and enroll in school. Use brains over muscle and strategy when you hustle. Legally stay out of trouble and stay out of situationships. If it has to whisper from your lips, then think twice before you say it. The hardest battles always come right before you make it. Some opportunities only come once, you better take it. Consider this my affidavit, a poem for problem solving. When you're all about solutions, you're evolving to your calling. This world's full of pollution and I'm tired of stalling. Like a smoker of 20 years is tired of coughing. There's no stopping a determined soldier that's under control. And yes, some do deserve a second chance out on parole. Forgive all women who choose to slide up and down a pole. This world is full of judgment and everyone plays their roles. It's bigger than pimps and hoes. It's a battle over your souls. Everyone loves the express lane. Stop and pay the toll. So slow down sometimes. Solutions right up under our nose. In hell. Hell is pretty hot. That thing is right up under our toes. In heaven ain't hard to find. The blind just got their eyes closed. In poem. Hey, thank y'all for rocking with me tonight. As always, that's all I got.
Good job, man.
And another one. Thanks, Mentor. Fellas, it's been great. We almost did an hour, but I Hayden, turn the light back on.
Oh Lord, oh my God.
Why is she shutting down the show?
Hey, she said turn the lights off.
He said it's time
Over,
to go.
mama. It's over.
Thank you, fellas. I'll see you next Sunday. Thanks to everyone who joined in.
Thank you. It's been fun.
Right.
Real. Good to
All right,
see the
Alicia,
whole
take
team.
care.